Our journey began at the Burra Visitor Information Centre, where we collected the Heritage Passport key. Before heading off, we explored the monuments and interpretive displays surrounded by the centre. These plaques and the sculptures honor the miners, settlers, and families who built Burra from the ground up. They provided an immediate sense of the town's importance and the hardships endured here. Our first stop was the Market Square Museum, once the tailoring shop of Mr. Wade. Inside, we learned about his life and craft and the tragic circumstances surrounding his death, followed later by the death of his wife. What had once been a busy tailoring store became the setting for a haunting chapter in Burra's history. Standing in the quiet rooms, it's easy to imagine fabric being measured, scissors cutting cloth, and customers walking through the door, unaware of the sorrow that would later be tied to this place. Here, history feels deeply personal. We then stepped into the Bourne Arc Mine Museum. As we entered, a voice suddenly began narrating how mining was carried out in the early days, describing the tools, techniques, and the dangers miners faced underground. The unexpected sound catches you off guard. In the silence of the building, hearing a voice makes your heart almost skip. But in that moment, the place feels alive, as if the building itself is telling its story. The exhibits paint a vivid picture of harsh working conditions and relentless labor. After a full day of exploration, we returned to Discovery Park's Clear Valley to rest and to escape the heat, ready to continue the journey in the cooler morning air. With a fresh start and cooler weather, we returned to Burra to explore the human side of this historic town, Hampshire Village. We began day 2 at the Hampshire Village, once a self-contained settlement for miners and their families. Walking through the remains of the cottages and the communal spaces, you can picture everyday life, families raising children, meals cooking over fires, and neighbors supporting one another in a harsh environment. This stop shifts the narrative from industry to humanity. Next, we explore the imposing Redruth Gaol. Built from fixed stone walls, the gaol reminds visitors that law and order were essential in a booming mining town. The small cells and narrow corridors reflect isolation and discipline, a stark contrast to the open landscape outside. Nearby, the Burra Police Lockup and stables offered insight into how policing operated in the 1800s. The lockup held offenders temporarily, while the stables housed police horses, essential for patrolling vast rural areas and maintaining order. From here, we visited the Burra Smelt historic site, where copper ore was processed after extraction. Standing among the ruins, it's easy to imagine the intense heat, smoke, and industrial energy that once filled the air. This was not just mining, it was a full industrial operation that powered South Australia's early economy. One of the most fascinating stops was the Burra's miners' dugouts. Carved into creek banks, these dugouts served as early shelters before proper housing was built. Basic, cramped, and carved from earth, they revealed just how difficult life was for early miners. It's a humbling glimpse into survival and adaptation. After an afternoon of exploring, we stopped at Kookaburra Takeaway for lunch. We enjoyed a generous portion of fish and chips, crispy, hot, and satisfying. Sometimes the simplest meals, enjoyed in historic surroundings, become some of the most memorable moments of a journey. We continued to the Burra mine site, where the sheer scale of the mining operations became clear. Looking out over the landscape, you begin to understand how significant this mine once was. Burra helped shape the colony's economic future and placed the town firmly on its historical map. Next, we descended into Unicorn Brewery Cellars. As we stepped inside, a voice began narrating how beer was crafted underground to supply thirsty miners after long days of work.
Thanks for coming down. I promise you it's not a ghost. If you have a few moments, please take the time to sit and watch this short video. It will start in about 20 seconds.
Why did I do that?
The sudden narration catches you by surprise, but it transforms the dark tunnels into a living story. reminding us that mining towns were not only places of labor, but also places for community and social life. We concluded our exploration at the preserved heritage cottages, including Mulwayne Lorath Cottage. Inside, the modest furnishings and the compact rooms reflect the resilience and the resourcefulness of families who lived here. These homes tell stories of routine, hardship, and hope in a demanding environment. Returning the heritage key felt deeply satisfying. We had unlocked Burra's story. Burra is more than a heritage town. It is a story of labor, resilience, hardship, faith, and community. And this is one journey we're really glad we took. On our way back to Discovery Park's Clear Valley, we stopped at the painted silos along the road. The vibrant murals stand in striking contrast to Burra's historic stone buildings, a reminder that even rural landscapes continue to evolve with new stories and artistic impression. We paused to take photos and reflect on our journey. Day 4 marked our journey back to Adelaide, but we decided to take a detour to the Cascades, hoping to see the waterfalls. Unfortunately, there was no life there, no water flowing,